Daytime with Aston Avery. Stephen Smith is with me to highlight Pride, and especially being the month of Pride, which is June, of course. So, Stephen, did you ever go to the Blitz Club or venues like Haven as well?
I went to Haven, yeah.
Haven.
The Blitz Club was running, but I was probably too scared to wear all that makeup and stuff in the era. So I was aware of the Blitz Club, but I went to Haven. And my favorite club was a club on Tottenham Court Road called Bangs, which happened on a Monday night. And it was the one night you could go and be yourself. And it was great fun. So, yes, I did.
So that being said here, Stephen, obviously earlier Where the Girls It's Raining Men played earlier, but that reminds back of the Canada photo shoot that you've done.
Oh my God, yes. Sorry, Aston. I was going to mention that to you. What do you think? Okay, your mum could be a gay icon. She would be perfect. She was so game for it. Listeners, I got Aston's mum done in a fabulous raincoat with nothing on underneath. It was all very chesty and exciting, with two gorgeous hunks at her feet and an umbrella. And we did it for the calendar, Raining Men. And she looked amazing. Were you embarrassed by it, Aston?
Well, not really, because it was for worthy cause, as they call it, the Anna Kennedy Online Charity, as they say as well. But it's obviously you've done that for the month of April, because April showers, of course.
April showers. So we did mum for that, and she had such a good time doing it. I mean, she was really up for it. We changed her hair and everything. She just looked like a gay icon.
So that was brilliant when you did the calendar there, Stephen. That each month you progressed it like each month. So like December was everyone.
Icon. We did Madonna. Joanne was Madonna. We did Anna Kennedy as Liza Minnelli. We may have got just a bit too much stocking involved. We had to airbrush it a little bit. But and we had a whole series of characters there, and it was really worth doing. I'd love to do it again, but it takes a lot of organization.
It does, really. And that being said, did you ever have heroes growing up?
Yeah, well, there's obviously heroes I had outside LGBTQ, but as a gay man growing up, Mark Bolan was the first bit of light I actually saw, and then David Bowie, and I realized he was bisexual. And then along came something called The Naked Civil Servant, which was about Quentin Crisp. And I remember thinking, Christ, there is another me out there. It was a light at the end of the tunnel.
There's lights at the end of the tunnel, of course. But Stephen, we're now being joined by someone who's worked with the likes of Kylie Minogue, Pet Shop Boys. He's a journalist, a columnist, presenter who's a regular on the new GB news that's out there right now as well. Yeah. That is Sam Dowler who joins us. So happy Pride, Sam.
Happy Pride to you all. Hello. Hi, guys.
I even brought my little flag with me today.
Oh, and very appropriate it is too. I've just got your usual gubbins. No flag for me.
Your hair.
Sorry?
You've shaved your hair.
Well, only on the sides.
Oh wow! Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's a bit severe, but it'll grow out.
Yes. Oh, absolute pleasure to have you on today, Sam. I have to say there. So, Pride, what does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, for me, as somebody who is in their very early 40s, I grew up at a time when I was it was, I guess it was a lot smaller than it is now. It was a lot different. And, I don't think I went to a Pride until I lived in Sydney, actually. Like I never went to a London Pride because I think it was iffy as in whether we had a Pride or then there was a party in the park in Finchley Park, and then like nobody seemed to be getting their ducks in a row. And then I went to Sydney Mardi Gras and it was like,
God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was just amazing. And then and I hadn't maybe found my true gay self, I don't think, until then maybe. And then when I got back, but since then, I mean, having now worked within the LGBTQ plus community for many years now, and obviously working in the music industry as well, and TV and media, it's Pride's never been more important than it is now. You only need to look at think, just look at our own government, for example, with
Yeah.
their refusal to ban trans conversion therapy. You need to look across the pond to America, where
That's really worrying.
where trans kids are being persecuted, and they might even see the rollback of gay marriage over there. So whereas, and that's not even including all the countries around the world where it's illegal and sometimes punishable by death. So pride to me, it means that there is still a very long way to go.
Yeah, it really is. There's been many gay journalists throughout the years, many of them in the closet, because one of the most homophobic places are the tabloids. I know one of my dearest friends, Lester Middlehurst, is now passed on, was one of the first to come out at the Daily Mail, and he didn't get an easy time, trust me, back then, and particularly from other gay people that were in the closet. Did you come across any homophobia when you started working for the mainstream papers?
Well, no, not really, because I was in music first, the music industry, and obviously, that's been full of gays for years, so that was generally fine. But I think I went into women's mags first of all, because from music industry, and then I did a column straight away in Now magazine, and obviously women's mags, you don't really get a lot of homophobia. Like the majority of that comes from the mainline papers, the broadsheets, and a friend of mine, Dan Wootton, was he was very high up. He was number 3 at the Sun for a long time. I know he has some people would say he has a bit of a questionable history with the LGBTQ community, but however, he was still out there and and he was still at the Sun, which was notoriously homophobic for it was only, I think it was 20 years ago that they were still using poofter and shirt lifter and things like that. And so but again, as I said, I think trans is the new sort of thing to be acceptable. It's acceptable to be anti. You only need to look at some of the broadsheets. I'm not going to mention any names. When they one of the main papers in this country runs anti-trans rhetoric on a daily basis almost. So it's it certainly hasn't gone away. You can't use gay slurs, and also you can't be vilified for being gay at work anymore, but however, you are allowed to write anti-trans rhetoric.
I worked at the Sun for 5 years, and I had a column with them, and there was loads of there that were just so welcoming, but there was that element that always had something a little to say, and it's which you wouldn't normally get. So you're so right.
So this is a serious question here, Sam, as well. Obviously, it is Pride Month. So when did you come out, and who did you first tell when you first came out?
I was very much a buy now, gay later sort of person. I was. My mum said she knew when I was 3. I would say you could have told me, mother, but for God's sakes, I won the acting cup for playing Mary in the Nativity when I was 11 years old. So no, I wasn't 11. I was 9. So then, and obviously then I was into drama and all this kind of stuff, and I knew I had these feelings, but again, it was the 1990s, and there were the late 1990s, and there wasn't a great deal of representation on television, not positive representation that I could see. And I didn't want, you only look on TV and everything was like, oh, woof to this and la-di-da, and I was like, that's not how I necessarily see myself. So then I had like a secret boyfriend at school when I was 17. We used to snog in the art room, and then I went to university, and then when I was at university I had a few girlfriends and stuff, but then and I told my mum I was bi, etc., and she was fine about it. And then and then a few years later I was like, look, mum, there's not going to be any more girls now, and she was like, yes, I thought so.
Now what it is as well, you're a regular now on GB News here, and they label GB as transphobic, anti-gay. So what are you feeling on the top? What's your feeling on this topic here? Well,
funnily enough, whenever I go on the channel, which is relatively often, I go on a panel or I go on just a live link like this, and when it first started out, I I was, slightly reticent about going on it, etc. But I spoke to some friends of mine who, one of them was at BBC Worldwide, one was at Al Jazeera, and they were like, how could you go on such a channel? And the thing is, as well, it has obviously this bad reputation because some of the people on it do like speak outrightly, especially anti-trans stuff. And if you're not part of the conversation, then you can't change, but you can't change people's minds. So there's no. So I mean, as I said to and also I'm a working freelance journalist. So you go where the work is, obviously, and at the same time, I have some good conversations on there with people. It's so important to have an open dialogue. I don't think by shutting down a conversation, nobody wins. And the thing is as well, I mean, there isn't. I know when they first started it, I think they overestimated the appetite the British people had for opinion news, I think. And I don't think it is as, I mean, you look at Fox News in America, I mean, it isn't anything like as that or as popular as that. And because people like lap it up, I suppose. I think maybe we are a more discerning country. But I also think that, there's no point leaving people who watch the show having watched any of the channels, having like no, you've got to have two sides to every story. And I think that's super important. And that's why I go on there.
It's really important for people like you to go on shows like that, because they keep your friends close, your enemies even closer. If you don't have opinions, they will find someone that's going to be a horrible stereotype and drag them on.
Well, exactly. And also I think that I've had some great conversations with people on the show. I mean, because the thing is, I talk about everything, not just LGBTQ stuff. Like I talk about, politics and I pretty much cover everything. I mean, and one of the hot button issues obviously was vaccines during the last few years. And I've sat on the panel with people and so had lovely conversations with them on the panel and then in the green room and then as well. And then people tweet each other afterwards. And then I see that they're like crazy anti-vaxxers, or like some of the stuff they've said is just like proper Looney Tunes. And I'm like, oh my God, they seem so nice. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't remain friends with them, or I wouldn't like. You have to have friends of differing opinions. It's the only way that we expand our minds.
Banning people because they have an opinion, it's so wrong. It's the wrong PR exercise. You want to actually listen to them, and it's the only way is to educate them. And if you're not able to speak to them because you've banned them, it's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Listen, you've worked with quite a few people. One of the biggest gay icons, Kylie, you've worked with.
Well, I worked at Xenomania Records, which was, they did all of Girls Aloud and all of Girls Aloud songs. They worked with Alicia Dixon, who's actually from my hometown, and various people. I never actually worked with Kylie, sadly, but I have met her a couple of times. I've met Madonna as well. And I have to say, like I was just, when I met Kylie, I was super nervous about it because, because I am like her perfect age. I mean, like give me a bottle of Kylie Prosecco, and I'm away. I love her. I loved her, and I loved Madonna growing up as well. So I was just a bit like, I'm never normally nervous when I meet a famous person because I've met so many of them. But with her, it was a bit nerve-wracking. And so when I was at Xenomania Records, obviously these people would come in and out the house to do writing sessions all the time, and she did come in a few times, but I think she decided that she wasn't going to use any of the songs or something. So I never really got to work with her, but I did get to work with, as I said, Girls Aloud, and I was friends with Sarah Harding and things like that. I mean, it's just it was a great time.
You have to back up a little bit here because we had Dusty O on, David Hogg, a couple of months ago, and he was saying how horrible Madonna was. And he loved her, we had a lovely time, and she completely ignored him over dinner. Was she nice to you?
Well, yeah, it was when I was at Now magazine. Yeah, and it was I think. Yeah, it was the red carpet lineup for when she directed WE, and her PR, actually, a woman called Barbara Sharon. I know her quite well, and we've always had a laugh. She looks after the Pet Shop Boys as well, who were at Xenomania. So I know Neil and Chris, and they and so she came along, and I was like, "Oh, Barbara, give us a couple of extra questions," and she was like, "Okay," and Madonna was lovely. I mean, she was she was super sweet. I made a joke about, what did I say? Oh, I asked her, what was her secret to like a successful love life or something, and she was like, "Oh, fairy dust," and I was like, "Well, there's plenty of fairy dust over there," where all her gay fans were screaming for her, and she went, "Ah!" and I was like, "Oh, I made her laugh." And that was good enough. So so we had like a small conversation, and then she was, and then she walked on. But she was pleasant. I mean, but she was on the red carpet though, so she couldn't really be anything but. So I'm not sure what Dusty O's experience was.
You are always rather. When I first met Sam, he said to me, "You're rather old, but at least you have all your own hair."
Stephen,
Wow.
I don't remember saying that.
Damn. So that being said here,
I'm not very witty.
so Sam, we're going to come away a bit from Pride here as well, but you must be proud of your career that you do, which is journalism presenting here. So do you have any advice for anyone wanting to break into journalism or even radio broadcasting here?
Well, I mean, I've been on radio as well for like the past 5 years, and I'm just taking a break from that and doing other stuff that's going on. But it's so, it's such a different it's such a different industry than it is when I first started, and when we all first started. There's so much more opportunity for young people, and so much more opportunity for disadvantaged young people as well, which is so important. It's not just about the elite crowds that can go to whatever university they want to. I think the main thing is get involved in your student paper, get involved in like after school classes, and again, as I said, it's so different. Like, I mean, there's so many classes that kids do at school. I mean, because we were doing bog standard maths and bog standard history and stuff, and now, I mean, and I think it's vital. I think it's vital for young children to learn about the medium and things like programming and stuff like that, computer programming and things like that, and learning Mandarin, things that would have been that would have never been on the curriculum when we were younger. So I think it's about taking advantage of having a look around and see what there is that you're interested in and what you can get involved in.
Sam, I'm still struggling with English, but can you tell me? You have a magazine called The Glue Magazine.
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about it.
So that is it's an online magazine that I run with a pal of mine, a fellow DJ, and he and he came to me, and because he has some very large. What? Stephen, he's got a large audience. He runs some meme pages, some gay meme pages. It's got quite a large audience. So we started a news and entertainment website, and it's partnered with the Instagram. We've got about 35,000 followers, up to about 200,000 with the other meme sites as well. We talk about news, and we talk about LGBTQ stuff, and and entertainment, but also with a bit of a laugh along the way. So that's thegluemagazine.com. So definitely give it a look.
We're going to put the website on when this goes live, so people can actually go to.
Fabulous. Are we not live now?
They're live now, but when we send it out, we put all the little links on it onto the social media and everything. So we'll pop them. Now, are you going to Brighton Pride this year?
Do you know what? A friend of mine selfishly is having her wedding that weekend. I know it's because it's always it's the first weekend in. I know. So at the moment, I'm not 100% sure. Can I just say I love Brighton Pride. I've got such fond and amazing memories. I was so ready for it the last couple of years. One of my friends, Erica Thomas, she works for Brighton Pride, and it is just one of if not the best prides that I've ever been to. It's all the weather is always fantastic. I mean, I say that now, but also I've got friends that live in Brighton. I've got family that live in Brighton. It is always an amazing time. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to my friend's hen do, so maybe I can say, well, surely that's enough. Who knows? I do want to go.
One last question. I'm afraid we have to wind up with Adore having you on. Do you think Pride's beginning to lose its meaning as becoming more of a rock concert or a Glastonbury than what it actually quintessentially is about?
No, not at all. I think, you need to look at Glastonbury over the weekend. Half of it looks like a parade anyway, with all the rainbow flags and everything. And I don't know. Yes, frigging Diana Ross. Are you kidding me? Diana Ross, Saint Etienne. It's like gay heaven. I've been to Glastonbury many times, and it's and they cater for. There's there's 2 or 3 gay clubs. It's there's drag clubs as well. It's super fun. So yeah, I think speaking to that, it's like a music festival has adopted such a gay reality to it. But whereas where it comes to Pride, I mean, I know what people say about corporations and stuff. And I think, a few years ago when corporations would just literally slap on a rainbow flag on their logo and then call it a day. I think people have been called on that for the last few years, and things have changed quite a lot, and they will still change again. I think the danger at the moment is groups like the LGBT Alliance trying to split up the community, shit like that. And
Sam, I could go on about this for hours with you. And listen, we really thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Sam.
Yes, and we'd love to have you back on again.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Anytime, guys. Anytime.
Thank you, Sam.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Bye.
Bye.
Sam Dowler here on Gateway.